Alright, we are recording for Chapter 5 of Star Trek The Motion Picture novelization. Which, yeah, it is a novel by Star Trek's creator. It does say, it's just weird that the actual name is Star Trek The Motion Picture, even though it's not a motion picture as it sits there and here. Anyway, it's a relatively short chapter, Chapter 5, and doesn't do too much, which is fine, doesn't need to do much. So it's basically, Kirk is heading through Starfleet headquarters to get to the orbital transporter. And he's trying to hold back his emotions because he's like, I got the Enterprise, yeah. But it does still have the whole, he was not thinking of Nagoya's final words. If you are convinced that you are the right man, Jim, then go. If you are not, then for God's sake, don't. Which, I mean, it's fair, but it's also the whole, and Scotty even refers to Decker as inexperienced later on in this, because Kirk beams up, talks with Scotty on the way to the Enterprise. It's like, okay, but it still is. Kirk can just decide, yeah, I'm not in command, I'm just making this my flagship. He could just do that. So he's present, and he could be on the bridge, providing assistance, providing the benefit of his experience, but leaving Decker in command. It's like that is technically possible. The treatment here is though it's like not, it's got to be him in command or Decker in command. It's like, that's not how it has to be. In fact, you would almost think that Nagoya would be able to just say, all right, I'm assigning the Enterprise to you, to your fleet, so you may make it your flagship if you wish. And just it being his flagship would mean he's on there. So it's like, do that so there is something official aside from just Kirk being like, I want this, I'm taking it. And I mean, I get it, the tension is Kirk is taking command. I get that. And I'm not saying he wouldn't, I'm just saying that you could still have that pretense there. Is that pretense necessary? Probably not. But I'm technically enough minded that in my writing, I would want to put that pretense in there. Because, like, no, this is how it actually appears legitimate. Like, I would want that. So, anyway. It then talks about how if McCoy were there, if Bones were there, that then Kirk would be more concerned and have more doubts about if he is the Kirk of the Enterprise logs, this great, magnificent captain. This great, awesome captain, or is he somebody who has been damaged by the desk duty? And will he be able to recover from that in time? But also there's another thing, and that's fair. Kirk isn't thinking about it, though. He's just thinking Enterprise, with the V'ger cloud as the secondary thing on his mind. In some ways, though, that is fair because he has nothing he can do about the cloud at the moment. He can try to get the Enterprise ready, so that makes sense to be paramount. But anyhow. There's then this line that I don't like it, and it makes me wonder, is this 70s, or is this Roddenberry, or is this both? Let me read it and then explain. McCoy might have warned him that while the love of man for a vessel and the love for a woman will rarely bear more than poetic comparison, they do both share a similar passion for possession, and also similar blindness toward the responsibilities which this entails. And it's like, I mean, actually, I don't really need that last portion, but the passion for possession, it's like, a ship is a possession, a woman isn't. And I'm not saying that it's like, yes, men will be jealous of their wives and be very protective, or girlfriends, and be very protective of them, and to the point of being possessive of them. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm not saying that even that there isn't some amount of it that is appropriate and desired on both parties. But it still is. A ship is a possession. It is dependent on all members of its crew to function. A woman isn't. Like, she might be, if it's a housewife that we're talking about, might be dependent on her husband for bringing home the bacon, that there is that dependence there, but she is also independent in that when he leaves, she can go out, do the shopping if that's what she does. Or just take care of the house. I mean, it's like if she's a housewife, she's taking care of the house. If there's kids, she's taking care of. So she is still very much independent in that way. I said I don't know if this is a '70s thing with the whole feminist movement around. Well, no, that predates it. Doesn't the feminist movement predates the '70s, but some of it definitely got kicked up more so in the '70s. Or if it was Roddenberry just trying to have some commentary about men, how men treat women. I don't know, but it's like it just is a weird comment to have in there. But I don't see the need for it to bring in a woman in that comment there. I understand the whole Kirk is being very possessive of the Enterprise. And like Bones could bring that up, but it's like, yeah, you can talk about that. You don't need to bring women into this. I don't know why you did that. Why that's there? Just aside from a possible social commentary there that I don't think is valid in the way it's presented. Yeah, I don't know. Chalk that one up as a style difference, by the way, because I am critical of it. I wouldn't do that. I think it's not right, but that's how Roddenberry wants to write. That's how it gets to write. That's how any author gets to write. So it's like that's fine. But the other things are not always style based. And actually, hang on, is there anything? No, I don't think that I've got anything in this that isn't just style. If I'm going to be critical of this chapter, I don't think there's anything that isn't just style here. There's one mention here that I do find interesting. The Klingons had definitely attacked it first, Kirk said. The Enterprise won't make that mistake, of course. So this is Kirk talking to Scotty, who Scotty seeing him was like, okay, cool. I mean, it's not exactly that, but it's like, all right, let me come over and talk to this guy. And it's like, why is he here? And it's like, he then is like, oh, I recognize that look on your face. You're about to do battle with somebody. You need to win. And you've decided you are going to win. But Scotty doesn't yet know that the orders to be sent out in 12 hours came from Kirk, or that Kirk is taking command. He doesn't yet know that. They're just talking about things. And also Kirk is telling him about the cloud, because Scotty doesn't know about that yet either. And it was funny, because he was in kind of the whole... And what damn fool said that we have to leave in 12 hours? We're not ready for that. There isn't a point of Kirk going like... nothing like that yet. But yeah, the Klingons had definitely attacked it first. Because this was talking about how the Klingon ships were destroyed. And they're even like, oh, well, at least we know those things can be destroyed. Because it's like they're the new heavy cruisers that would in theory be equal to the Constitution class. So that is kind of a concern. It is a little odd, though. One thing that is talked about in this is that like the Enterprise has basically been completely rebuilt. New engines, new deflectors, new weapons, everything new. And it seems odd this whole... yes, I get you need a shakedown cruise. I get all that. I understand that. But it seems odd that you didn't build a Constitution refit from scratch. It's like you've only been refit. It just seems like how the conversation was written was as though we have got no idea of how any of this is going to work. Versus the prototype behaved in this way, and we're trying to do the best we can. But the Enterprise, I've been modifying it for years. And it's like there's some spots that the spit and polish is gonna make it a little different. Or even Scotty being like, yeah, well, I made these tweaks because I know these engines, I know how they behave, so we're gonna do a little different. I mean, we didn't have anything like that. It just felt odd, like the Enterprise is the prototype for this refit, and I don't know why that would be the case. I'm just trying to remember what there was a little bit more around there. Nope, guess not. There is the way Kirk, Scotty finds out that Kirk is taking command is by Scotty, talking about not only is the ship not ready, but it's also with an inexperienced captain. Kirk is like, I know I've been out of the game these past 3 years, but I don't think I'm that inexperienced. is when he understands. But also Scotty's, well, it is both true to Scotty's character, but it's also true to how he would do this with Kirk. His Scotty's the one piloting the pod around the space dock, to the Enterprise to dock there because the Enterprise transports aren't ready yet. Which, one thing out there, but moving on. Scotty was purposefully maneuvering it to keep the dockyard between them and the Enterprise, so that it's like, all right, now we're at the view. It's like, there she is. So you can't get any glimpses of it until it's ready. And it's like, yeah, that's definitely a look. I don't want to let any of this spoil for you, Jim. We gotta show you the majesty of the Enterprise all at once. You're not a glimpse of it. No, here's the whole thing. But it's also, I could definitely see it just being Scotty being like, I'm proud of her. I don't want anyone seeing a portion of her. It's got to be the whole thing that you see all at once. And it is that's where the chapter ends. Is just there she is. So the next one is where, in theory, we will get the description of the new Enterprise, the refit Enterprise. Which one thing I want to mention about, I mean, have I said it in these recordings or just somewhere else? The Constitution refit is the best looking. Yeah, I definitely have said in this. It's the best looking Star Trek ship. It just is. It has the most class to it. The right proportions, the right line, everything about it's just so good. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Things like the Galaxy class, that was a very well made model, but it's like big saucer, tiny nacelles that also is like so far down. It's just well made model, but it's like Constitution refit. It's, as I said, the proportions, all that. It's just such a good looking ship. It's gonna be interesting to see how it's described in here, but I mean, it's so good looking a ship, and true, motion picture didn't necessarily do as well as maybe they wanted to, but it gets introduced twice. Once in the motion picture, and then they reuse some of the film for Wrath of Khan when he introduced to it there as well. It's like, I ain't complaining. It's a great looking ship. Do we see any other? Is there any other time it's really? I mean, there is in Search for Spock when it comes back and you see the battle damage on it, but that's more of just like setting up. Well, both tying it into the previous movie, but also setting up its damage, and because that does come in play later. It's not in. Well, it is revealed in Voyage Home at the end. There's that. Final Frontier doesn't get an introduction. And Undiscovered Country doesn't really get it either. You just see it there. That's fine. That's fine. It doesn't need introduction at that point. All right. Yeah, beautiful ship. Beautiful, beautiful ship. All right. I got nothing more. I mean, it's largely just an exposition chapter, which, hey, you need those, and it is still well written, so I got no significant criticisms there. So, yeah, I am fighting the urge to ramble. See you next time.